It's time for Peptide Talk, featuring Garrett Pope. Now, here is your host, Joe Zapata.
All right, guys, welcome to another week of Peptide Talk. I am Joe Zapata, and like we always do, before you like and subscribe, please go to equipfoods.com. Use promo code JerseyJZ and get 15% off your order. You can get protein. They got banana protein that's new. They got creatine. They got gummies. They got everything there. Go to equipfoods.com, promo code JerseyJZ, and get 15% off your order. All right, guys, I'm here with the man and only Peptide King himself, Garrett Pope. What's up, Garrett?
What's up?
Long time no see. What is happening, my man? What are we going on to, man? So, a bunch of things I want to talk about. And one of the first things I saw in the news today was that a doctor in New York City, and you sent me this, a doctor in New York City was arrested. And the reason why is he injected a woman, 27, who died following an anti-aging serum injection at a wellness center. Pretty crazy. And he's unlicensed, by the way, unlicensed doctor. Garrett, you sent me the story. What did he give her? Do you know? And he was trying to pass off as a peptide? I don't know.
Yeah. So here's what happened. He was from Passaic, New Jersey. Okay.
Not too far from me.
He had an office in New York. He was acting as an unlicensed physician. He was as much as a doctor as, Dr. Cock is. And he basically, that was NAD plus 500 that he injected her with. So everybody knows. But here's what people don't know. That's how the media wants to portray it. Another media story says, unlicensed doctor arrested after injecting woman with NAD plus. The real story behind it is, it was intravenously done, not, a simple injection, into your body. It was intravenously done. And he injected her with an entire bag full of it.
Oh my God.
So that is like the equivalent of maybe taking 8 or 10 bottles of NAD and injecting it all at once. So while, oh my God, they want to say, peptides killed the woman. No, with anything else, if you take an overdose of anything, you're taking a chance of, killing yourself. I mean, come on, let's be serious.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
He injected her with an entire bag of it, and that's what happened.
That's crazy. I mean, and you can overdose on anything, on aspirin, anything. If you take too much of anything, it's bad for you. We know that.
Oh, yeah.
It's pretty crazy. But this guy was unlicensed and everything. They're going to make a big story. They're going to try and blame peptides and all this stuff.
They're blaming peptides. I mean, that's the lead story. The lead story is unlicensed physician and peptides. And, I saw another story. People are running wild out there, acting like they're doctors, injecting people with peptides. No, he injected her with a whole bag of it. I mean, let's be serious. There's no, the guy didn't know what he was doing. The guy, I bet you he didn't even know what the hell he was injecting her with, to be honest. He probably just, this stuff's supposed to be good. Come on.
I see the Vitamin Shop has NAD Plus now. When I go in the Vitamin Shop, they have NAD Plus. I don't know if that's the same as what they have at what's the difference?
What I tell people is anything oral, pill, a drink, anything like that. No, for NAD Plus to be utilized and effective in your body, it has to be injected into your body. So,
yeah, okay, 100%. All right. So I wanted to highlight a drug, a performance-enhancing drug, and we decided to pick on Anadrol. Okay, very popular drug that people use, Anadrol. Garrett, tell me about Anadrol. Tell me, what does it do? Is it good? Is it bad? Do you recommend it to your clients?
Never, ever.
Okay.
It's one of those drugs up there that I put up there with Tren and Winstrol. And if somebody says to me they want to use Anadrol, I tell them why. What's the reasoning? What's the purpose? Don't bother with it. Okay. You remember Anadrol back in the day? They were called A-bombs.
Correct.
Anadrol 50. Okay.
Anadrol 50.
Anadrol is responsible for more water retention in people than any other drug. That's the drug you would see people get on. And granted, they would take one pill a day, and next thing you know, they would put on 20, 25 pounds. and they would fill their t-shirt out and they would fill their sleeves out and they would feel jacked. But in reality, once they get off of it, all that water weight disappears and they're back to their normal self. It gives you very, very strong strength increases. It also gives you great water retention. Power lifters use Anadrol a lot, famously. Okay. Would I recommend Anadrol to anybody? No. It's also extremely, extremely toxic on the liver. Puts a lot of pressure on the kidneys. Not a fan of it. Not a fan of it. I personally, I've never used Anadrol in my life. Ever.
Wow. I've used
Never
it
have
once.
used Anadrol.
I used it once, like I said, in the 90s, and I felt like a water buffalo. It just was like put on a lot. I mean, my strength was through the roof, but you know, I was easily benching like 400, but it was just not. I just felt, thought I was Mr. Mall with a tight shirt, but I was all water.
Yes. And that's what everybody does. Like what I call Anadrol is the bouncing drug, because if you see a lot of bouncers will get on Anadrol because if they have to wear a shirt or a tight and they want to fill that shirt out, that's the greatest way to do it. Or during the wintertime, a lot of bouncers would used to get on Anadrol because they would wear longer, up in Jersey, they would wear longer sleeves and they would look jacked in the shirt. Man, what was his name? He had those, when he would get on, he would have those perfect Jim. Remember Jim?
Jim Blakely. Yes,
Do you
Jim
remember
Blakely.
him?
Yeah, of course.
Yes. And do you remember when he would get on the Anadrol, how much he would blow up?
Yes.
And then he would come off, and that was a perfect example.
Jim Blakely. Yes, I remember him very well.
Yeah, I couldn't remember his last name, but I remember from Rosie, and he would blow up on the Anadrol. I mean, like literally his neck, his shoulder, everything, and then all of a sudden just boom. And that's classic Anadrol. Yeah.
Yeah. You never recommend it to any of your clients, correct?
Never. Anybody that brings up Anadrol to me right away, I turn to them and go, well, why? Well, what? Well, I want to get strong. There's other things you can do. That's useless. That's that's useless to use Anadrol. All you're going to do is put on water retention. Yeah. And then you're going to take all that water back out. It's not worth it. It's not worth it.
I know someone I know someone who loves Anadrol, but they're just always they're very heavy and they don't look good and I just tell them, I said, you should not even bother with that stuff.
No, there's three out there. Anadrol, Winstrol, Tren, that anytime anybody brings up to me, nope, don't use it. Don't use it no matter what. Stay away from it. And they're all for different reasons. You know what I mean? They're all for different reasons. But the Anadrol, to me, is a garbage drug. Total garbage. And like I said, I've never used it personally. I've seen off a ton of people their reactions to it, their body reactions to it. And it's, that's all right.
Yep. All right. One of our questions that we got in was from Robbie T from Paramus, New Jersey. He said, Garrett, before someone decides to jump on peptides or anabolics, don't you think they should have their basic sleep, nutrition, and training on a certain level?
Absolutely. Before you do anything, your the basic sleep, nutrition, and training, it all starts with that. Well, with everything, it starts with that. With basic sleep, if you're out partying all night long and you're getting 2 to 3 hours of sleep a night, and then you're trying to go and train, that's the easiest way to get hurt. That's the easiest way not to see results. So yeah, you have to have your sleep in line. Okay. Now, granted, as people get older, people have trouble sleeping and stuff. Then there's certain supplements to help with that, or this and that, if that's an issue for you. But assuming everything's fine, you don't have any sleep problems, you got to get your sleep. Okay. So basic sleep, absolutely. Nutrition, yes, absolutely. You can't out-train bad nutrition. Okay. You just can't. Now, when you're younger, can you get away with eating things that you couldn't get away with as you get older? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Younger, you could have cheat days, you could eat stuff here and there, and it wouldn't really affect you. And as you get older, you got to be real careful of that. You know what I mean? And training, if you don't have your training down, don't bother using anything. Don't even bother me. If you don't have your training down, don't even use creatine. Don't get your training down first. You have to get your training down. These people that when I talk to them and how many days? What's your training split? What's this? What's that? And they turn to me and go, I usually always do arms at least once a week, and I try to do chest twice a week. Last time I did back was I think 3 weeks ago, and legs I haven't hit in a while. And that's not a training split. That's not training properly. That's not, what I mean? A lot of people don't understand that. A lot of people, I try to say to people is you have to have your training down. You have to have a specific training split, and you have to know what movements you're doing, what days you're doing this on and that on. It's not just a fly by night thing of, I knew somebody up in Jersey. I mean, going way, way back. He did back and biceps 3 times a week at all times. Sometimes he would throw it in a 4th time.
Wow.
And the other muscles would get hit. I mean, maybe he would do shoulders once a month, if that. Legs, I couldn't even tell you. Chest, he would hit maybe twice a month. I mean, it was always back and biceps every time. And I would joke with him, and he'd be like, oh, I got to go to the gym now. I was like, what are you going to go hit? Back and biceps? How'd you know? It's like, that's not a training split. You know what I'm saying? That's not, that's not proper training. So yeah, before you're going to do anything, people get ahead of themselves. Like we've talked about before with Instagram and TikTok and all this shit. People, they're all into the what else what can make them big? What's instant gratification? What's this? What's that? No, get your training, all that down. It all starts with training. If you're not training right, you can use all the stuff in the world. You're not going to, it's not going to do anything for you.
Yeah,
it's just not.
100%. The next topic I want to talk about, I want to spend some time on is because, and I'm close to a situation that you obviously know about. What is the age to start taking stuff? So let's break it down. Just like in the laws, you got to be 21 to drink. You got to have an ID to vote. There's certain rules you need to have and get to before you do things. I'm pro steroids. I think steroids are good for people. I think peptides are good for people. So I will advocate, hey, take steroids if you want to. However, there is this line in the sand where you got to wait a little bit. Now, back in our day, I didn't start taking steroids until maybe a little bit later in my 20s. But today, with TikTok and Instagram, everybody's throwing it in your face and everyone wants to be big and strong. So I got a question here first. Let me see if you can respond to this and we'll get into it. Bill W. from Fairfield, New Jersey said, Garrett, any advice for someone who's in his 20 like myself and is feeling pressured by friends to start using compounds after not seeing the best results at the gym yet? I've only been training for 2 years. So how do you want to answer this?
My first piece of advice to Bill would be get new friends. No, seriously. I mean, it sounds funny, but it's serious. If you have friends that are pressuring you to use compounds, those aren't friends that I have never, ever in my life, ever felt pressured by somebody, friend or not, to use compounds. That has always been a decision that I completely researched, studied, did in-depth, looking at, and then decided to make that decision. If people are pressuring, if you're feeling pressured by your friends to use compounds, you need new friends then, because I guarantee those friends don't know what they're doing, because anybody that knows what they're doing would turn around and would give you this answer if they were your friend. Hey, they work wonderful for me. I'm getting great results off of them, but you have to understand everybody's different. So you have to do what you think is going to work well for you and what your goal is also. I have people coming to me asking me about certain compounds and this and that, and grown people. I'm going to use a perfect example. Somebody, he's 45 years old, 5'9", maybe 5'10", 160 pounds. Okay, so like your average, person. You look him on the street, you wouldn't even think he works out. And can you break down for me HGH and this and that and all these exotic compounds, all these things he wants to use. I looked at him and I said, how old are you again? He goes, 45. And I said, oh, Okay, what do you know? Oh, and he brought up trend and he brought up all this stuff. Why do you want to use, for what? Are you looking to revamp your physique? Are you trying to go up to 220, 225? Are you? No. I mean, ideally, I'd like to put on maybe 5 or 6 pounds
Mm-hmm.
and, just be like really ripped, like for the beach.
Mm-hmm.
That's somebody who's clueless. That's somebody. And my exact comment to him was, if you're looking to put on 5 or 6 pounds, why would you get on? You don't have to even use that stuff for 5 or 6 pounds. What are you doing? A
Mm-hmm.
lot of people they're misinformed. They don't get it. They don't understand. And there's so many people I meet with that I tell them, you know what, maybe you use a little baby baseline test. And then you use peptides and you use a little low growth hormone or low growth hormone releaser. But that's it.
Mm-hmm.
More isn't better. That's number one. Number two, that I think the person that just asked that question was 20 years old, he said, right?
Correct. 20, yes.
Okay. At 20 years old, I'm going to assume if he's never used compounds before, he hasn't competed before or anything.
No.
So my question to him would be, well, what's your goal? Are you looking to compete? Are you just looking to look big once in the clubs and the bar? I mean, come on, you know, bro. But let's be honest. How many people back in the day used to use stuff just so they could look jacked in the clubs on the weekends?
Yeah, of course. That's it.
You know what? I mean, we knew tons of people like that.
Yep. I just want to take off the shirt in the sound factory and do whatever and just be, hey, and look at me. I'm Mr. Mall. I'm Mr. This. It happens. I get it.
Yes.
You know?
And we knew a lot of people like that. And then that's what they was. They just wanted to look big, and the clubs and this and that's what they would use the compounds for. And when you think back at it, you go, holy shit, what were you thinking? You know what I mean? Like,
yep.
That's not what you do. It's you have to have a specific goal first, I tell people. Okay. The second thing is what a lot of people don't understand is this something that you're, and I understand a lot of people can't answer this question, but is this something that you honestly sit down with yourself and say, yeah, I'm single now, let's say he's 20, I'm single now. Once I get a girlfriend though, I'm going to spend more time with her than I would in the gym. How many people did we know like that? The moment when they didn't have a girlfriend, they were in the gym pumping away all the time. The moment they started dating somebody, you would never see them again in the gym. That's another thing. If this is for life, if this is something you're going to do, if you look at it and go, man, I'm going to be training for the rest of my life and I know that. Okay. If this is a fad for you, or if this is until you get your next girlfriend, or why are you going to waste your time? Why are you going to waste your money? Why are you going to be an experiment? And the other thing too is a lot of people don't understand. They get on compounds because they're told, like he said, his friends are pressuring him. Let's say he gives in, that guy gives into his pressure. Okay. Do you think he's going to get on things because he knows what each one's doing for his body? Or no, what's going to happen is his friend is going to say to him, here, this is what I'm using. You should use this too. Yeah,
that's exactly what's going to happen. He goes, this helps me with this, this, and this. Well, you're different body.
Exactly. I mean, you got to take a lot of things into consideration. You got to take into consideration height, weight, genetic makeup. What I mean by genetic makeup is also race. Listen, people have different genetics. Okay. What I mean by that is look at somebody who's 100% German. Okay. Russian, Polish. They have those square heads, those big bone. They're bigger boned. Okay. They're bigger boned people compared to other nationalities. Okay. That plays a lot into it also. Okay. The German athletes used to be, they were the first ones to introduce steroids into the Olympics and all this, but they were strong to begin with because of their base of the big, thick boned. Okay. That plays a lot into it also. Know what your nationality is, know what your genes are, and know if wow, I'm going to respond well, or no, I look at my genes, look at your mother and father, look at your grandparents, that plays a lot into it. Okay. I mean, you take, for example, I'll just use, for example, with me. Okay. So my dad now, he's much older, diabetic, all kinds of other health concerns. He's very, very frail and thin. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But when I was younger, my father never was he a weightlifter or anything like that, but he was, when I was younger, 5'10", he would go up to 260. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's big, 5'10", 260. But fat, he was, if you want to give a comparison, built like Tony Soprano.
Okay.
Okay. So that's the best way to describe his build. He had a gut that would start, up in his chest.
Mm-hmm.
But he was big. He was big all over. So like Tony Soprano's build. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's the best way to put it. My mother, to give you an idea, when she got married, she was 99 pounds.
Wow.
She was like this. Her whole life, even to now, very veiny, very vascular, very thin skin. Okay. So very vascular skin, lean, has always been lean.
Okay.
So for me, when I looked at it at a very young age, okay, yeah, I did look at this at a very young age, okay, when I got into competing and this and that, and I looked at genetics, I said, okay, wow. And my grandfather, my mother's father, who was tall, okay, but that has nothing to do, I'm not even talking about height right now.
Mm-hmm.
So you just look at that, and I would go, my father, he obviously can hold the body weight, so I can hold the weight. But I had my mother's genetics from having the vascularity and the thin skin and everything. You combine them into the two.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, there you go. Compared to now, you look at somebody else, and let's say they have two parents who are just total meatballs. Okay. Just round, no vascularity, no nothing. No. Well, where is your genetic potential at?
Yep.
Do you see what I'm saying? It goes a lot of ways. I see people who their father was a former athlete. Okay, you got good genetics. It all plays into. So you have to know all this when you get involved in this. And you have to think about it. And you have to say, okay, well, where's my genetic potential at? Okay. Where's my genetic potential to train? Where's my mind to train? Am I really focused on training, or I'm just going to the gym and pumping weights with my friends?
Yep.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yep.
I'm not putting that down. What I'm saying though is, if you're going to take it to a different level, you can't just be going to a gym and just lifting weights and shooting the shit with your friends.
Yep.
Okay.
100%. Yep. And I don't want to bring up names, but obviously, the situation. Someone close to me, obviously, is at that age where he's a tremendous athlete, but he's 16ish. Tremendous athlete, could be over to the next level. I love him, I support him, and he wants to get to that next level. And I get it, because I'm pro steroids, I'm pro peptides, everything. But there is a line you can't cross yet. He needs to wait, and and we've obviously had the conversation. When someone that young wants to do that, Garrett, what would you suggest someone who's 16 at? Now, again, granted, they're a great athlete, D1 football, and they're looking at him. Colleges are looking at him. What would you suggest? What do you think person should do? And I'm not the father, but I understand because it's a close family member. What do you think?
And I spoke with this person, and I'm going to tell you here my exact word for word verbiage, the advice I gave. Okay. When I spoke to him, 16 years old is way too young. Okay. Way too young. I went into detail, and I'm not going to go into detail here about breaking down every single thing of side effect that it could be. And I want to put out there for anybody listening, we're not talking about just steroids, just peptides. We're also talking about SARMs.
Correct.
Okay? So we're talking about everything when I'm right now with this particular subject. SARMs, steroids, peptides. Anybody out there that doesn't know what SARMs are, I'm not going to explain it now. Go ahead and Google it for yourself and read up about it, because that's a whole different story. So you're too young. There's too many things that side effects. It can shut your hormones down. It can shut your testosterone down. It could wreak havoc with your body in a lot of different ways. Growth plates aren't fully developed yet. A lot of different things. At 16 years old, you don't know where you're going to be yet either. And what I mean by that is this: hey, you know what? You might go on to Division I football and play Division I football. And if you do, man, that's freaking awesome. And you know what? Once you get to that level, then your coaches, your strength trainers, they will advise you the next steps. They will advise you the next steps at that point. But at least if you go on to that, you have scholarship in hand. You're now doing it for a purpose. Right now, 16 years old, who's to say, God forbid, tomorrow you don't go out and tear an ACL, blow your knee out, and you're never the same again. There goes your scholarship. Now you would have used these compounds for what? At 16 years old, and possibly shut your system down. Okay. I tell everybody, and it's the truth. And I told this person that I never used things at that age. I competed in my first show, the team in Jersey, which I won completely natural. Okay. Never used things at that age. When people sometimes will look at me, oh, but look at the size. Yeah, look at the size of me. I started training at 14 years old. I've been training my entire life, and I never used stuff at that age. I see people even at that age using stuff. It doesn't make any sense to me. You've got to let your body develop first, because you don't know how your body's going to develop. You don't know if you're a late developer or an early developer. I was a late developer personally. Okay, I was a very late developer. The way my body went, when I first started touching a weight at 14 years old. Man, at the time I was 155 or 160 pounds, believe it or not. Now, I was shredded from just playing sports. So just playing sports, I remember 14 years old, freshman in high school, in the pool during the summer, I had an 8-pack. That's all it was. It looked like, you ever see the contestants on Survivor? They all have 8-packs because they're all thin, okay? So I was a 14-year-old, veins all over, shredded, but there was no muscle on me. I was 14 years old. Started training, and just naturally training, I shot from 155 or 160 to 198 like that.
Wow.
I responded very well to it, but I was a late developer, because what I mean by that is, okay, then I shot to 198. Wow, that still wasn't anywhere near what my body could hold or handle. Then from 198, I shot to 225, from 225 to 260, from 260 to 290. Do you see what I'm trying to say to you?
Yep.
So that all was, oh, okay. You don't know this. You don't know, at 16 years old, you don't know how your body's going to respond, develop anything yet. Let the natural training, the nutrition, one of the things I said, you should be eating every time you turn around. You should be just force feeding yourself. Eating protein. I remember I used to get in trouble my junior and senior year in high school. I used to get in trouble all the time because, so I would eat breakfast at home, get to school. It was weird the way our school was. There was different lunch periods. So the first lunch period, believe it or not, was at 10 a.m. The second lunch, which was absurd. The second lunch period was at 11:30. The third lunch period was at 12:30. So what I used to do is, whatever class, let's say I had the third lunch period, whatever classes I was in before that, I would get a pass to go to the bathroom during that period. Instead of going to the bathroom, I would go to the lunchroom, buy my lunch, sit down, eat, okay? Go back to class. Next lunch, go. So I would eat 3 lunches during the day. Nobody knew this, okay? And I was selling things left and right. When I say I would, my mom used to make like eggplant sandwiches, and I used to take them to school and sell them to other kids. They would buy the sandwiches so I can go and buy 3 lunches, because I just wanted the calories and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I just wanted the calories in me. And so, you look at it, and by like 1 o'clock in the daytime, I've already eaten 4 or 5 times. And then I would just keep doing that. Then after school, I would go across the street after school. There was a pizzeria. I would eat right then and there, then go to practice. Then after practice, go home, have my dinner at home, then eat again later on that night. So I was eating 8 times a day at that age. That's what people don't realize you've got to do. You've got, and a lot of people, when I say to them, don't worry about the supplementation and all this. Eat. Just eat.
Yep.
Eat. At 14, 15, 16 years old, you will grow like a weed if you eat.
Yep. That was
You
one thing
really
Rich
will.
Piana used to say. Rich Piana used to say, "Oh, I'm not grown. Eat more." And they say,
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, do eat more, eat more, and eat the good food too. Don't eat chips and all that."
I'm not saying garbage. Exactly. But at 15, 16 years old, your metabolism, especially if you're playing sports, your metabolism is racing so much. You
Yeah.
can get away. I'm not saying chips and ice cream. I'm saying PIZZA. I can't say the word because all three of my dogs know the word. Okay. And they'll all start running around like lunatics. So PIZZA, burgers, other things like that. You can get away with eating.
Yep.
Where you can't, as you get older, you're going to watch it more. But just consume calories, consume carbs. That's another thing too. And I'm not just for this level at 16 years old. I mean, for people older and stuff. So many people I hear all the time, oh, I take no carbs. Oh, I limit my carbs. You need carbs to train.
Yes. Gives you the energy.
Limit your fats. Eat, it's safe. You need carbs. Eat carbs. It's fine to eat carbs. Okay. Carbs will fill you out unless you're getting ready for a show, unless you're getting ready for something specific that you have to look absolutely bone dry shredded for.
Correct.
Eat carbs.
Eat carbs.
Okay. Eat carbs. If you're training normally, you need the carbs. You have to have the carbs. Too many people are afraid of carbs. You know, I tell females a lot when they want to, oh man, my glutes just won't grow. My glutes, what's your carb intake like? Oh, I do minimal carbs. I don't do any carbs at all. I guarantee you, with what I have you doing for your glutes, if you start relaxing it and taking more carbs in, you watch your glutes grow.
Okay.
But people don't realize that. People don't realize that you need carbs as important. Protein builds muscle. You need carbs to fuel those muscles. But at 16 years old, at 18 years old, you shouldn't be using anything.
Yeah.
At 19 years old, you shouldn't be using anything. You know what? You want to make an educated, informed decision at 21 years old.
I agree. 21 years old, and I'm close to the situation, and I support him. I love him, but he's got to know that line. Scholarship in hand, different story. We'll talk something, look around, see what's going on to get to that next level, NFL or D1, whatever.
Exactly.
But, right now, just do it. Eat, like you said, proper training techniques, train the right way to grow muscle,
Well, that was one of the things I asked too. I said, listen, I just want to make sure, because, for the sport you're playing, your coaches have you doing tons of leg work, tons of squatting, right? Because you have no idea how many kids I speak to. What do you mean tons of leg work? I mean, we do legs once a week or twice a week. Oh, really? What are you doing? Well, coach says he's not a fan of squats because that puts a lot of pressure on the back. He doesn't know what he's talking about then. If you play football, you should be squatting. End of story. End of story. And what I tell people too is this, and I know this is going to sound a little ignorant what I'm going to say, but if you're thinking about taking steroids, we'll say, for example, at 16 years old, but you say to me at 16, 17, 18, oh, but I was told if I squat long term, that could do damage to my back. Hold on a minute. So you're thinking about long-term damage to your back. That's why you don't squat. But you're not thinking about long-term damage for steroids.
That's an excellent point.
See what I'm saying?
Excellent point.
I'm just saying, and some people might say, well, and the reason why I say some people might say it's an ignorant statement because some people will turn around and go, well, some people are predetermined to back issues and this and that. Unless you have scoliosis, there's something severely wrong with your back, there's no reason why you shouldn't be squatting at that age.
Correct.
None.
100%.
No reason whatsoever. You want to build a base? Squat. My football coach, who when I first started getting into training, at 14 years old, and believe it or not, the first time I ever trained at 14 years old was it was baseball practice, and the coach for baseball for our baseball team came from a different town. He wasn't a teacher at the school like the football coaches and everything were. and there was an accident or something one day, and he was really late to practice. Okay, like really late. So we're all hanging around in the locker room, this, that, everybody's goofing around, doing whatever. That's the first time I ever went over. They had the whole universal, and they had all the. Listen, I didn't know what I was doing, but I just started doing exercises I saw on TV and this and that, movements. That's the first time I ever trained. And then he showed up, and we had baseball practice and this and that. And I remember the next day, the soreness that I had throughout my body. It was the greatest feeling in the world. I loved it. I loved it. Where other people, oh my God, this sucks. I loved the feeling. Now, my football coach, once he saw me a couple times working out after practice and stuff, and he would look at me and he would go, well, what are you doing that for? Doing what? That movement right there, what are you doing that for? For my biceps. Squat. You should improve for football. And the way to do that is by squatting. Squat. And he would have me squat out. Listen, there's overkill. He would literally work out then after practice, and I would work out also. And he would have me squat literally for like an hour straight. Just an hour straight. Just next set. How many sets are we doing? Don't know. When the hour's up, that's when you're done. But how many sets are we doing? Doesn't matter. Sometimes he would turn around and go, all right, that's it for squatting today. I would go over and just be exhausted. Go over and let's say, you're a kid. You're 15. I'll go over and grab a pair of dumbbells and start curling, He would look at me and go, you have more energy? Do another set of squats.
Really?
So I learned at a real early age, but believe it or not, then when I got into bodybuilding and stuff, and I started reading these articles about how if you squat, that grows your entire body.
Yes.
And I went, my God, that football coach that I cursed up and down under my breath knew what the hell he was doing.
Yep.
He knew what he was doing. And he's the first one that when my weight jumped from like 155, 160 to 198, okay, from training consistently for like 2 years. It's because he had me squatting till I was blue 3 times a week. He had me squatting 3 times a week.
Wow.
3
And
times.
your legs are big. And I remember when we were even younger, you always had really big legs, that were huge. And people don't realize in football, your legs are a lot of that. Your legs are what you use the most to push off the line, or that your legs are what you need.
Yep. That's where all the drive comes from. And that's where it started from. And that's what people used to say to me. I mean, even at it took me, it took me probably until about 29 years old for my upper body to catch up to my lower body. So it took a long time, 13, 14 years for me to be what I call balanced, because I had the opposite problem of all the Jersey Shore bodies. All the Jersey Shore bodies had these tiny little twig legs and these big upper bodies. And I was always, like you said, my legs were always jacked and my upper had to catch up to that. And it took me until about 28, 29 years old until I honestly would look in the mirror and go, okay, I'm finally balanced. My upper's finally, and still to this day, my legs have the ability to blow up very, very quickly compared to my upper, where I've got to keep that in balance because it's real easy for me. My legs have always, and I think it's part of his genetics, but I don't really think so. I think it's part of it how I learned to train with the squatting. Because when I was taught the 3 times a week and the way it was done was, this guy was a football coach. He was not a bodybuilder or anything like that, but he was a football. He actually played with Sam Mills at Montclair State.
Oh yeah, Sam Mills.
Okay, so Sam Mills. So he played with Sam Mills at Montclair State, and the guy was a well-built guy. Okay, our football coach, our head football coach at the time was when I say well-built, not like monster jacked. What I mean is, if I had to take a guess, he was 6'1", 230. Okay. So, when I'm not mad, but well-built, okay, well-built, very proportionate, had, good arms, good shoulders, good chest, good leg, just proportionate and a good build at that, you know what I mean? I don't want people to think like, oh, he was this jacked monster, you know what I'm saying? He wasn't, he just, give me an idea. But in his training, and he taught me at such a young age. And I hope, the person we're talking about right now, that's 16, I hope he listens to the show, because I tried to explain a little bit the other day about you doing a lot of legs. And when he listens to this, he's going to understand what I truly mean by doing a lot of legs.
Okay.
So my football coach, the way he did it was, all right, I'm just going to throw out there, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or Monday, Wednesday, Saturday. That's the way it was done. And Monday squatting, okay, we're going to squat heavy. We're going to go down to between 1 and 5 reps, okay? We're going to load that bar up. You're going to squat as much as you possibly can, okay? Go to 1 and 5 reps. The next workout, Wednesday, okay? Now, you just loaded all that weight. You did all those low reps. You did all that. Mm-hmm. Wednesday, I wasn't allowed to do one set of squats under 20 reps.
Wow.
Not one set under 20 reps. If I couldn't hit 20 reps, I had to take the weight off. So he would put a weight on and you got to hit 20 reps. If you fail before 20, if you get 17, 18, we take the weight. We got to lower the weight. Got to get 20 on it. And it wasn't like, we're doing. Now, when I think back, when I look back at it now, I would never, ever do that. That was contradictory to muscle growth because we were doing, honestly, 15 sets of 20. I mean, that was, what I'm saying? You were exhausting the muscle. And then Friday or Saturday's workout would be a combination of the two. So with that one, he would start, okay, I want you to do a lighter set, 25, 30 reps. Then we're going to work our way up. We're going to go real heavy down to 4 to 5 to 6 reps. Not all the way down to singles, but 4 to 5 or 6 reps. And then we're going to drop down and you're going to finish out with a set of 50.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
So while it was a lot of legs, and while when you look at it, you go, was that really football training or was he on to something else? Because when I thought about it years later and I've read things, I've said, man, I wonder if he followed Tom Platz at all.
Mm.
Because Platz did a lot of things like that, but I was too young at that age. I didn't know who Tom Platz was. I didn't find out until years later. But when I read it years later, I'm like, I wonder if he followed Tom Platz or anything, because he was the only one that did the crazy ass reps like that. Mm-hmm. And I contribute that a lot then to those crazy rep routines while my legs blew up. The same thing with calves. We had a Asian kid, big ass Asian kid. He was a nose tackle, 5'9", 5'10", 280. Okay. Mm-hmm. So just one big, thick, kid.
Okay.
And he used to do single leg calf raises, and he used to try to hold the heaviest dumbbell he could, and he would get 3 reps, 4 reps with it. Okay. I remember the football coach teaching me, calves don't respond like that. And he would have me doing calf raises 50, 100, 150 reps, literally until I was quivering. Okay. Quivering. You always remember my calves.
Yep. They're always big.
The same thing. And that was off of absurd high rep ranges. Mm-hmm. And he would turn to me and go, I don't want you using that heavy weight. That's not what is going to grow your calves. Mm-hmm. I want you using we're going to go real high reps here. Don't even worry about the weight. And he would just have me literally come all the way down, pause at the bottom, come all the way up, flex as hard as possible up top. Mm-hmm. Okay, now do 100 of those. I would look as a kid, 100. Mm-hmm. So,
and I always believed legs and calves, you walk on your legs, you walk on your calves. So their muscle fibers are used to the constant pain or whatever. So you got to train them a little bit harder than everything else, Yeah. And Dorian Yates said it. He says, if you don't train legs, you're not training. He said, you don't train legs, and you don't have to be a bodybuilder and train legs, but I know people who are not bodybuilders and go to the gym, they just do arms and chest. That's it. I know. They don't do any legs at all. I have 2 of my hips replaced, and I still go in there and do my best what I can with legs. I try to do whatever I can, but it's harder. But I still try and hit legs at least once a week, my legs. And I do leg extensions, leg press. I don't do squatting anymore because it hurts a little bit, but I do calves, everything like you said. Legs are important. Legs are very important.
Yeah, I mean, extremely. I mean, I still to this day, I still put the video. You see, I mean, my favorite now is the pendulum squat, but I still free weight squat. Okay, I don't free weight squat the way I used to every time you turn around. I mean, there was a time, you remember at Gold's, even down here. Okay, I probably stopped doing it in 2016, maybe 2017, so maybe about like 9 or 10 years ago, that I would still squat twice a week.
Really?
And I kept that up until about 9, 10 years ago. And now what I do is if I do legs, if my leg workout is once a week only, okay, what I'll do is, okay, well, I squatted last week, then I'll squat this week. I won't free weight squat or when I train during the year, when I train legs twice a week, okay, on Wednesday and Sunday, then it's real easy. One leg workout I squat, one leg workout I don't squat. Simple. Yep. Life is simple then.
Yep.
I don't never, ever squat more than once a week now at the max, but I still squat. And I feel that's the base that grows your whole body.
Yep.
You know, that's why I say to people now, you know, when people say, I go, no, I still squat all the time. I still, you know, doesn't mean you have to squat to, you know, I mean, let me see something. The heaviest I go up to now on the free weight squat, I still as a, you know, just 2 weeks ago I had a 500. Okay. I can still go up to 500 pounds free weight squat and I'll bang that out 5-6 reps. Okay. I don't like to go below that on a squat anymore. I don't go lower than 5-6 reps at all.
Wow.
Back in the day, if you remember at Gold, there were times with the knee wraps and I was going up to 7 plates. I mean, I was going to absurd amounts on there.
Well, I remember the leg press. I remember used to have like 10 plates on each side, plus on top, and me and 2 people on the side, and we'd have to be, you know, spotting you as you went up and down. But you know, you would get it at least 10 times. You know.
Yep. Or the hack squat. Remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would always, you know, and still I mean, that's carried over where my legs are still very strong. And it's because I built the base up like that, where, okay, that's where your base came from. That's where your base. I mean, it's, you know, here's what I tell people. It's like building a house. Would you put the roof on first?
No. You can't build a house on sticks.
Exactly. You know, you can't build a house on stilts. You don't put the roof on first.
You need
it's
a base.
The same way. You have to have a foundation. And everything is built off of the foundation. And it's the same thing with your body. Everything is built off your legs. If you have your leg strength will stay there forever. Okay, now knock on wood, I'm lucky. I don't have any back issues. I can still load that weight up on my back and squat up and down with it with no problems. Will I get back spasms every once in a while? Absolutely I will, but that's totally different. That's muscle spasms. That's not structural problems. You know what I'm trying to say to you? I don't have knee problems, thank God. You know, every once in a while you get like a little crickety or a little but nothing, you know, there's nothing bad there. The other thing I tell people too is you got to balance your legs out. And what I mean by that is a lot of people think sometimes knee problems is because they have weak quads. It's actually the opposite. Most people have knee issues because they have weak posterior. Yes, hamstrings, glutes. If you have weak calves, hamstrings, glutes, that is going to affect your knee and you're going to give you knee issues. So what I have a habit of doing that I used to practice going back to Strong and Shapely, man, I was 19 years old. And I had a habit of doing this. And I've now done this straight through for the last 13, 14 years straight. Every leg workout, I do my hamstrings first.
I do that too.
Yep.
Hamstring first.
Yep. Very important to do it like that. Do your ham, because most people they'll hit their quads, and by the time they do the hamstrings, they'll go, I'll go do 3 sets of hamstring curls, and that's it.
Yeah.
Bomb your hamstrings. Then go to quads. Trust me. It also warms your knees up.
Yep. I do that first. I always do that.
Yeah, that knee flexion. All that knee flexion, it warms your knees up for the quad work that's coming. When I go, you know, people, you mentioned that one day about me going so deep on the pendulum squat, okay? The reason why I'm able to go that deep right off the back of the pendulum squat is because I already did all my hamstring work already. I'm already all warmed up. Like when I post that video, oh yeah, I've already done all my hamstrings.
Wow.
It's all done. You know, it's just, so I go into the next movement, my first quad movement. Oh yeah, I can go all the way down because I'm completely warmed up already. So
yeah. Out of all the exercises you do, body parts, you know, legs is not my favorite, probably my worst, but arms is my favorite. What would you have a favorite body part you like working out? What is
hands
it?
down, legs.
Legs, really? Okay, so legs is your hands down favorite. You know?
I've always said it, and I still say it to this day to people. If somebody said to me, "You have 45 minutes, one day a week, that's it, no other time to train, and that's it," I would spend that 45 minutes on legs.
Really? Okay.
Hands
Wow.
down, because I believe it grows your entire body.
Mm-hmm.
So if you couldn't do anything else, case in point, when I tore the bicep tendon that time,
Mm-hmm.
and I split up and I started doing legs, I started doing legs 3 times a week then because I had the time. It kept my whole body going. So yeah, absolutely. If I only had one thing to do, it would be legs. It's my favorite thing to do. Leg days, I'm exhausted afterwards. I'm literally, by the time I'm done, I'm shot. I just need to come inside, sit down in my recliner for a little while, just kind of calm down. But it's my favorite thing to train, hands down. It's the day I look forward to the best. It's the night I like when my leg days, I start preparing it for the night before around 6 p.m.
Wow. Okay.
I start getting in the right mental state. I go to bed an hour earlier the night before legs.
Wow.
So I even throw myself an extra hour of sleep the night before legs. I'm anal with when it comes to stuff like that. You know what I mean? But yeah, hands down, legs. I like training delts, also shoulders. Okay.
And you train by yourself, correct? You always train by yourself?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I haven't used a partner in a very, very long time. And the honest to God truth with it is, the reason why I stopped using a partner for the most part was people being late. It just, listen, I'm ready to go at this time. I took my pre-workout. I'm already completely warmed up and stretched. I'm ready to do my first set at this time, the time I gave you. And then all of a sudden, running late, be there in 25 minutes. Oh, well, I start my workout. They get, you started already? Yep, halfway through. And that's where it just got to, I was just tired of waiting for people. And that happened a lot. And it's no fault. Sometimes it will be the fault of the person. Sometimes, hey, you can't help it. Traffic, this, that.
Yeah.
But that's why I stopped using a partner. But I just, I was getting really, really annoyed with people being late and this and that. And so I've trained by myself for a very, very long time. And I like it better that way because I don't need anybody else to get me going. You know what I mean? That's the one thing that's, I know some people feed off other people. Okay. If that's what works for a particular person, do it. Again, everything works for yourself. I've always been able to motivate myself better than anybody else can motivate me. Sometimes working out with a partner is actually distracting to me. You know what I mean?
What about if you got to go heavy and you hit like a spot, or you just kind of do it? You don't care.
I just do it. I just do it. I just, if it's squatting, I set the safety bars in the power rack.
Okay.
So God forbid if I do go down and I get stuck, all right, I've got the safety bars set up. I'm not, I'm not crushed underneath it.
Okay.
I don't bench press. I do dumbbell press, so that's no problem. So if I fail on that, dumbbells, big deal. You know what I mean? So no worries there. You don't have to worry about, getting buried under back work or delt work or anything. I did, what was it, 2 weeks ago? I forget what it was. I just said this. I almost got buried in the bottom position on the pendulum squat.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I was doing a crazy ass set on it. And it was one of the final 2 or 3 reps. I went down and I went to go up, and it literally felt like somebody pushed me back down.
Oof.
And I just kind of went, oh, okay. And I had to pause in that bottom position, couldn't get out of it. And I went, okay, hold on, pause a few more seconds. And what I did was I took my hands, put them on my thighs, and then just braced myself, and on 3, drive. And I was able to get out of the hole that way. You know what I mean? So it happens from time to time because I take things to failure on stuff. So when you're doing a rear delt fly, going to failure, there's no harm in that.
Yep.
When you're going to a pendulum squat in failure, you can get stuck.
Yeah, 100%. Wow, we've been an hour already, man. We go by quick, man. It goes like really quick. Jesus. All right, guys, like, subscribe. Garrett, where can they reach you if they want to talk to you?
Pope Training, Instagram, all word. Pope Training.
All right,
I take care of everything: diet, nutrition, training, peptides, you name it.
You name it, he's got it, man. He's got it. He'll tell you what to do. Give him a call, and he'll tell you what to do. All right, guys. See you guys next week. Garrett, I'll talk to you in a little bit.
See you in a bit.
You got it, brother.
Started from nothing. Jersey streets, we owned it. Jay-Z pumping iron. Bodybuilder coding. Gears on the course.